Will you join me in the pledge? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I'd like to welcome everybody here today. I'd like to call the meeting to order and ask the clerk to call the roll, please.
Okay, roll sheet, good morning, Luddington. Here. Patrick. Bruner.
Here.
Ellis. Farnham.
Here.
Chittick. Voigt.
Here. Next item is the minutes from September 9th, 2020 regular meeting. You've had them in your possession. What's your pleasure? Need a motion to approve? Phil moves. Ellis seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Next, we have the claims against the county. Any clarifications or information needed on those? Hearing none, I entertain a motion to approve. Phil moves. Dan seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. County Board claims. Any questions or clarifications needed? Hearing none. Need a motion to approve. Phil moves.
Somebody.
Dan seconds.
Derek and Andy are not here, so.
These I have to sign for them.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Now we come to the portion of the meeting where we ask for public comment. We ask that you identify yourself. It's not necessary for us to tell us where you're from, although we'd like to know. Most of you we know when you come up. And we ask you to limit it to a 5-minute comment. Any comments today? Hearing none, we'll move along to the highway resolutions. First, we have a resolution authorizing the county board chairman to sign a preliminary engineering service agreement with Cummins Engineering for the Lower Terre Haute Road. Do you want to go over, just briefly, we talked about this on Monday morning, but is there anything you would like to?
Preliminary environmental site assessment, environmental survey request, historical, for the 3-foot shoulder excavation that we're gonna do for the 9 miles.
Motion? You know you're gonna have to sign that. Okay,
I
Phil.
know, but it, like I
And
said,
Carl seconds. Would you call the roll, please?
I knew what I was doing.
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
And Farnham.
Yes. Next, we have a resolution of support of the City of Paris 2020 Illinois Transportation Enhancement Program application, ITEP. We did get you information on what that was actually going to be used for, and I distributed that the other morning. Any further discussion on that? Motion, Dan moves. A second, please. Bill seconds.
Did you?
Any further discussion?
I think.
When you have a chance, the roll, please.
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnham.
Yes. It does carry. Resolution authorizing county board chairman to sign a local public agency amendment number 1 for federal participation for the guardrails and various routes, section 16-00132 00SP. Quick comment?
It's that $1 million guardrail project that we were gonna use rebuild money for the match, 90-10, but they came back and said you can't use rebuild because it was already in the hopper before the capital bill come out, so we're gonna use state match assistance monies instead.
Is this the one they said it was okay and then changed their mind?
Correct.
Is this on Lower T?
No, this is the guardrail, countywide guardrail,
Yeah, it's all over the place.
Okay.
federal agreement. You got a 10% match, you were gonna use rebuild money, now you're gonna use state match assistance instead.
Carl moves. Have a second, please. Dan? Thank you. I saw you go like this, Dan. It's like a bid.
Listen, you're supposed to be.
All right, Mr. Clerk.
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes. It carries. Resolution authorizing responsible agencies to post roads to 10 tons effective January 5th of 2021 through April 5th, 2021. Pretty self-explanatory.
What's the responsible agency, is that your,
That would be the townships,
yeah, okay,
road commissioners,
okay.
the state, no, the state can do
Okay.
whatever. Carl moves,
Second.
Lisa
Boy, was
seconds.
that painful, really
Yeah.
was. Yes.
Mr. Clerk?
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes. It carries. Correct Scribner's error in Highway Resolution Number 1 dated August 12th, 2020, reappointing the county engineer. Oh, Dan, you did show
I
up.
slipped in.
You slipped in.
Here, try it.
Let the record show that Mr. Cheddick is here.
You're all right.
So do we have a motion or any comments, Dan, or anything?
Carl, you saw it motion. I'll
Carl
second.
moved, I'm sorry, I was
I'll
chattering.
second it. Sorry.
And Phil seconds, please. When you have a chance, please call the roll.
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chick.
Yes.
And that does carry. Next item is resolution appropriating funds for payment of the county engineer's salary. And we're doing that at a slightly different time to make things work for the auditors? Or is
No.
is this the normal?
Yeah, this is normal, this is the same time every year. The
Way
question with
too
the
much.
auditors was the dates on the salary. I'm sure you-
Dan
How much
moves.
How much do we appropriate?
Half the salary comes from SDR, half the salary comes from motor fuel tax.
Half, huh?
Half federal, half state.
Make motion.
Carl moves,
Second.
Lisa seconds.
Atta girl.
Call the roll when we have a chance.
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
It does
You're
carry.
Such a pain.
You'd think Dan was writing the check, wouldn't
It's
you?
close, wasn't it?
It hurts him, it's
We're gonna
painful.
say with
Okay.
reservation, I didn't.
Item 7 is actually a general one, but that's okay. We need a resolution of support and commitment of local funds not to exceed $29,000 for Phase 0 Community Facilities Concept Feasibility Assessment. Boy, who made that up? I'll read that last line over and over again. This is to have our own planner and work with the Coles County folks as an advisor to us and them and to coordinate what's going on. So I'd like a motion to approve that. Dan moves,
Second.
Bill seconds. When you get a chance.
Luddington.
Yes.
Bruner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
Thank you, folks. Next item is the resolution establishing the Edgar County Special Services Area Number 2. Now, you're probably wondering why we've had so many resolutions, but we just passed the period at which they had 60 days after our hearing to muster petitions against the creation. That time has passed. No petition was forthcoming, and so this is the final ordinance or resolution, ordinance that we need to pass in order to set this thing in motion. So, did you have I want to give, go ahead, Dan, I'm sorry.
What would be the next step after this then?
Well, I'm going to talk about that, but
Okay.
forming a committee, having them determine when and how they're going to bid out the services, and then have that figured out as far as effective, how they're going to make that effective. And we'll have representation from the board and from the area up in Area 2, okay?
Is there a time frame that has to be done, or?
Not really. The only time frame that we're under, and if you'll notice in the levy, we did levy the maximum amount for it. And that has to be done on the 4th or 5th of November and then the 25th of November. So that's the only thing. The other thing we need to consider is timing. In other words, I don't know whether the committee needs to decide whether they want to bid it out right away and make it available to somebody to start operating, but they won't be having any cash until
Right.
probably July. So I'm guessing that that probably is not the way the committee's gonna go, but I don't know.
Who writes up the specs for the, will we do that?
The committee, and then we approve,
Okay.
okay? It's the board's responsibility to bid it out, but we've talked about it, and we thought that the committee, just like we had the last time,
Okay.
and then go from there. Does anybody disagree with that general outline? Okay. Robert, did you have something that you wish to say at this point?
No, Mr. Voigt, you covered it pretty well.
I'm sorry.
No,
I
that's
didn't mean
fine.
to steal your thunder. Is there any change to the ordinance or anything that we need to deal with when we
No,
pass?
it's all in good order.
Okay, I'm just asking. We don't want to have to pass it again. Is there a motion for the approval of this ordinance? Dan, thank you. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Phil seconds. Any further discussion? Mr. Clerk?
Luddington,
Yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Kiddick,
Yes.
Voigt, yes.
Voigt, yes.
I could've
Sorry.
Voted on that.
Yeah.
Just
Cause it makes them happy.
next is resolution to add referenda on April 6th consolidated election ballot for separation from Cook County. Mr. Clerk, any comments?
Well, I would just reiterate what I said yesterday, that the resolution to put that referendum on the November ballot, we passed that in March, and it was inadvertently overlooked when we prepared the ballot for November. But I have spoken with our vendor, and he already has it in the system, so we'll get it on in next April for the consolidated election, which is April the 6th. So, no excuses, I assume responsibility for it.
Okay, resolution,
I
motion?
think I asked the question Monday
Sorry, Dan.
on the number of signatures on a petition. I heard you had to have 750,000 to put it on the ballot.
Not on the county ballot, the county's only got 17,000
state.
people.
Okay. I just wanted.
It's
I
gonna
heard
be
that.
tough.
Do what?
It's gonna be tough to come up
Yeah,
with
I know.
that amount.
I know.
Well,
Anyway, motion to approve the resolution, please. Carl moves. John seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Luddington,
yes.
Brunner,
Yes.
Ellis, Farnum,
Yes.
Kiddick,
Yes.
Next item on the agenda, oh, that does carry. Action on bids for property casualty and liability insurance for 2021. Thank you, Robert.
Thank you.
Have a good day.
You too.
We opened bids Monday morning. We had 2 bids. Just to round it off, we had one bid for roughly $285,000 that didn't meet specifications. And we had one bid for $309,000 roughly that met specifications. The one that didn't meet specifications was our current carrier. The one that did meet was Liberty Mutual. And so we need to take action on that. Motion?
Liberty Mutual.
Motion to move to accept Liberty Mutual's bid
Yes.
by Phil. A second, please? Dan seconds. Can we go ahead and call the roll?
Certainly. Ludington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
It does, it is approved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Accept filing administrative order number 2019, which observes Election Day, November 3rd, as a state holiday. Augie was good enough to check with the state's attorney just to make sure we were clear on how it's to be handled. Everybody who works for and in this county as a employee will have that as a holiday if they're full-time, okay?
And all the offices will be closed.
That's up to the office holders, okay? I mean, Augie's not gonna be closed.
Okay.
Right.
I think it's,
I mean, I know the circuit clerk and the judicial system will be, but you don't.
I don't know what Don,
Okay.
you know, I was over there, and I'm sorry I didn't ask. I just reviewed to make sure, because they want clarification on how they were to handle it, and it's handle it just like Christmas. Was the
And
answer.
just FYI, I did put out an email yesterday
Right.
to all the department heads, and I basically sent them a quote right out of the statute. So it's
And
very,
this is one, you know,
very clear. It's just a one-time,
Right.
just a one-time deal.
I do have
motion.
one question.
Yes, sir, John.
How will that work with the law enforcement unions, since it wasn't listed as a holiday back, at the start of the year, and when they scheduled,
They will get a holiday.
they'll get holiday pay? Okay.
Yes, sir. Just one time. Motion to accept. Carl moves. Lisa seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It is carried. We have a holiday schedule. Is there anything you wish to say about that? Augie?
No, I don't. Does
Okay,
anybody
I
have any
just want to make
questions?
sure.
Yeah,
It's pretty much like last year's, right?
yes.
So, motion to approve the holiday schedule for 21. Dan moves.
I'll say.
Phil seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. It is carried. Next, we have a resolution from Joseph E. Meyer, our tax agent, authorizing chairman to execute a deed of conveyance on Antonio Castillo for parcel number 091336378009. Motion to approve resolution? John? Second? Lisa seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Ludington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
Is carried. Next resolution to appoint Pamela Dixon, trustee, Brockton Community Fire Protection District. Carl moves. Dan seconds. Roll, please.
Ludington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
It is carried. Next resolution approving oath and bond for Pamela Dixon. Sorry.
Stanfield. Did you say that?
Who moves? Carl moves.
I'll say.
Bill seconds. Would you call the roll?
I will. Are you okay?
Yeah, it's that stuff you gave me.
Oh.
It's sitting in the back of my throat. Sorry.
Good job,
Lud-
Augie.
Yeah.
I'll try harder next time. Ludington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
It is carried. Resolution approving oath and bond for Evelyn Stanfield, Commissioner, Union Drainage District Number 1 of the towns of Kansas and Ashmore. Motion to approve. Second,
Who did first? Carl?
Carl,
Thank you.
Dan. And just as a note, again, most of the time these recommendations come from the small agencies, drainage districts or fire protection districts themselves usually through their attorney, just to let you know how those happen. Can you call the roll, please?
Luddington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
Let's see. I had a question on Evelyn Stanfield. We don't have a resolution to appoint. We only have a resolution approving the oath and bond.
That's all I received
Okay.
from their attorney, and that is a unique ditch, as I understand it. And I think that the Stanfields are their only people involved in that.
Okay. Just
I
thought I'd
think-
ask.
I also went through this recently with somebody else, the question came up. And it depends on the lawyer that draws it up. There's some attorneys that handle the drainage systems that always write it as two motions. And there's some attorneys that always combine it as one motion. And it's just attorney preference on how it is written as much as anything, so.
Thank you. Okay, resolution appointing John McGinnis, trustee, Brockton Drainage District.
I'll make that motion.
Carl moves,
I'll second.
John seconds. Mr. Clerk?
Luddington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
It is approved. Resolution appointing Mark Baxter, Commissioner, Hughes Drainage District by mutual agreement of the town of Shiloh, county of Edgar, and the state of Illinois. Motion?
Make that motion.
Carl? Dan? Seconded. Mr. Clerk?
Luddington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
It is approved. Next, we have a contract for American Environmental for the hazardous mitigation plan that's, we have to do every 5 to 6 years in order to make us eligible for emergency grants and other funds that may be available in case of natural or man-made disaster. So our portion of this contract will be the in-kind participation of local government, county government, and 75% of it will be picked up by the state. So I need a motion. Jill and I interviewed these folks. They're the only ones that responded. And I would like, if you would, for you to authorize us to execute the contract with them. Need a motion, please. Carl? Carl moves. Oh, I thought, I almost said you seconded it.
Yeah, that is it.
Well, I saw your hand go up.
We'll allow it.
Phil seconds, please. Would you call the roll on that?
Luddington.
Yes.
Brunner.
Yes.
Ellis.
Yes.
Farnum.
Yes.
Chittick.
Yes.
Okay, it is approved, thank you. Last item of authorizations is authorize the chairman to execute an intergovernmental agreement between the city of Paris and the county of Edgar to establish a drug task force special crimes unit. You've had that in your possession. The committee is recommending, the sheriff's committee is recommending that, and we would like you to favorably deal with this agreement. Carl, do you have stuff you would
Well, I
like
was
to
gonna
say?
have you've had conversations with the mayor. You might share some of the thoughts why we're doing this.
Extremely gung-ho. I think it's important, and he feels that it's important that both the city and the county combine to do this. The city affects the county, and the county affects the city. Everything, we don't live in a vacuum where things don't affect each other. People in Paris want drugs, so they go out in the countryside and steal a truck. Vice versa. People in the country want drugs, and they come down to the city and break into a house. I mean, it's something that we've got to deal with. We've all seen it around us. somebody said the other day that they felt that the drug situation was waning. I don't think it is. If anything, it is getting worse. The mayor wants to be very aggressive. The police chief, our sheriff's department, all of us want to be aggressive about it. And so the mayor, I had no trouble getting him involved. In fact, he reached out, and so here we are. Now, it's gonna take us a little time to get it together. We need to hire a couple of new officers, one of which would replace a road officer so that we can send somebody to the drug task force. So we've got a little bit of time, but we're setting in motion what is right and what we promised the people we would do, and that's to put law enforcement and the protection of our citizens more in focus here in the county in the future, and that's what we're doing. Carl?
Yeah. And like I said yesterday, you know, the task force would be go countywide for any kind of crimes. The major crimes, you know, drugs obviously is the number one issue, but, you know, there's sex abuse crimes. And I know the city of Paris, they've said that they're seeing more violent type crimes, and, you know, this would be one of the focuses of this group. For instance, if something happens in Kansas, if they want their assistance, you know, because the Paris police officer will have authority to go throughout the county, and obviously the sheriff's deputy can go throughout the county. So if they need assistance in Kansas, Crispin, if they want our assistance on a big crime, then, you know, they can go up there and help them. And it's definitely needed. For several years now, we haven't had a detective in the sheriff's department. And I know in recent years, there hasn't been much work done on drugs, and, you know, there's definitely a need. You know, a lot of these crimes, all goes back to drugs, drug related. One thing that I would like to see done, maybe with our judicial system, is somehow to expand some programs to deal with some, you know, you look at the paper, you know, it's drugs, drugs, drugs. And I know they're, you know, once they go through the judicial system, you know, human resource gets involved, you know, with counseling and stuff, but maybe if they can somehow expand on that to prevent this an ongoing thing of repeat offenders. And I know I've mentioned several times drug court, and I know Coles County has drug court, Crawford County there's drug court, and it's been very successful, and I'd like to see if our people, the judicial people, could look into implementing drug court. You know, I know we're a small county, but maybe we could combine with Clark County or something, but, you know, just some programs to expand on rehabilitating some of these people with the drugs, and that'll help out with the overcrowding of the jail. You know, there's definitely a need for that, so, you know, I would encourage our judicial people look into that kind of stuff to help out. And another thing, and I don't know whether, Jeff, you had a chance to talk with the state's attorney, it has been pointed out to us from the people at the sheriff's department that they've got one person that's been there for 2.5 years, and he hasn't been sentenced. Another person's been there for 2 years. That's ridiculous.
Can't get them in prison, right?
No, it has nothing. That's been a problem in the past, you know, when we had this overcrowding with the COVID. I think at one time we had 7 people that we were housing. At that time, had them in Crawford County and we were paying. But just like these 2 individuals I just talked about, for the period that the jail was shut down, that cost us $20,000, the county $20,000 to house them. And like I say, 2.5 years, there's no excuse for that. So, you know, they need to work on that. So, that's all.
No, and there is in the agreement, we also asked that the task force is going to report to the chiefs of police in the various municipalities, and we'll review this in 1 year. See how we're going, okay? So, a motion to approve. Carl moves.
Second.
Lisa seconds. Would you please call the roll?
Luddington,
Yes.
Bruner,
Yes.
Ellis,
Yes.
Farnum,
Yes.
Shedid.
No,
Okay, it does carry. Thank you. Let's see. Officers and department heads. Aaron, do you have anything else to add today?
Any questions, no, Bill?
Sam?
I don't have anything, if you guys don't have, you heard Adam's report yesterday, so unless you have anything for me further, I don't have anything.
You too, Adam? Okay. Okay. Augie?
Yeah, a few things I'd like to share with you. As of last night, we have had 875 early voters, in-person early voters. Our vote by mail number is 743. And to put that into perspective, the vote by mail to the last presidential election in 2016, there were 462 vote by mails. And we're at 743, and there are still hundreds yet to come back in that were sent out. So needless to say, we've been very busy. Also want to inform everyone that there is going to be another Secretary of State letter mailed to everybody that has requested a ballot but has, or an absentee application, but they've not returned it. So, and again, this is a reach down from the State Board of Elections into every county clerk's database, and then that information gets shared with the Secretary of State's office. So, but the letter, I had a copy of it. I do have a copy of it. It's better written than the last one, and so it's very explanatory. And if you've already responded or taken care of your application, your ballot, you can disregard it. So it's more clear. It still has 7 or 8 different foreign languages on it, but I didn't draft it, so. Okay, let's see, what else have I got? Also, just FYI again, we're already working on the April 6th, 2021 consolidated election. That will be municipalities, be townships, school board members, and we do have the petition packets and forms necessary. So I want to encourage anybody that's interested in running for office to give us a call, and we can help them out with the forms that they need. They can also be downloaded off the State Board of Elections website.
Any questions of the clerk?
I have a question. Is the memorial still a polling place?
Yes.
Okay, somebody asked me, 2 people asked me, they weren't sure if they moved it yet. I said, I didn't know, you check on the website, or does the paper have the list of polling places?
Yeah.
Okay. I told them to check the papers.
We should have ran.
Pardon?
I don't always see the ads.
Yeah, I know that. So yes, it did run, I don't know, a month and a half
Yeah,
ago,
there's a couple
a month
people,
ago.
they
Yeah.
weren't for sure where they had to vote on.
Yeah.
Okay.
Now, the schools, have they, like Memorial, didn't they request to have it moved somewhere else?
They
But-
did,
but you
along
haven't.
with Wentz, but it just, the logistics of,
So you're looking at for next,
well, we're looking at it, yes.
yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
No guarantees, but
Yeah.
we're looking at it.
Okay.
It's also expensive to move a polling place. So we have a couple $1,000s in it every time we do that.
Anything else? Did I miss any, officer? Don sent you the a sheet that shows you balances in the various accounts and in the general fund, and we're slowly making improvements. Like I said the other day, we have receipted in the first safety tax money for July, came in the first part of October. We have approximately $330,000 left to receipt in for the general fund. And of course, a lot of funds from the state of Illinois are still due in. Remember, for example, like the safety tax came in the 1st of October. It was collected in July, paid into the state in August. They needed a month to get it ready, and then they shipped it off to us 3 months later. So it takes some time for that to come in.
So, if I remember right, you said 88,000
Yes.
in the first month?
Yes. Yes. So,
Is it on here somewhere?
no, it wouldn't be on here. It is in the total.
Okay.
It's in the budget. And it was receipted in along with quite a few other funds early this morning.
Okay.
Okay? Yes, Dan?
So what's the source of money for the, says court service fees, 445,000?
That comes from the people who were adjudicated by the courts. There's fees and services that are provided them that they have to pay for. Okay? Okay, how about you folks? Do you have anything, Dan?
We had a meeting yesterday with Andrew at Animal Shelter, and everything's running smoothly. She had some pins donated, food donated. I think she said there's what, 8 or 9 animals or dogs in the shelter.
9,
9. I think
4
so.
cats.
Only 4 cats?
Wasn't it?
One's mine.
There's a surprise.
She's keeping it for me. I haven't broke the news to my wife yet, that I'm rescuing a cat, so she's keeping it until I get up enough nerve.
This is public record, I think it's taken care
Oh,
of
I'll
now.
put it in the paper.
Hey, Carol, Carol.
I'm not telling her the next Monday, so I'll put it in the paper. It's a calico. Calico is very rare. I think about calico cats.
Especially a male calico.
And I'm feeding it. It's not costing the county anything to feed.
All right.
Yeah.
Anything from the health department? We'll talk about that in a
No,
minute, but
I was gonna call Janet, but you said you'd take care of it.
we'll go over that in a minute. Filbert?
Nope.
Did anybody come out to do any repair work?
No, she's having all trouble with the computer. It's down.
Okay. Well, Linda told me that there's a bunch of little things that needed done, and Andy was gonna try to have
She,
the guy downstairs, Ray.
yeah, they hadn't showed up. She put up the pins or something, I think, didn't she? Yeah. It's hard to get people to work out there because it's something that's not really considered in the county, or the county takes care of it. They'd have to do it on their own, so it's kind of hard to get anybody. We finally got the road done. I mean, took 2 years, but
We have a budget for repair. I mean, that's,
yeah, she just, I don't know, she kind of dragged her feet, I think, on,
okay.
she called the wrong people
Yeah.
too. So, but we'll get straight.
What did she call you?
I'd do it. I'd put more cats in out there.
We do have a handyman that we talked to several months ago about, the possibility of doing some odds and ends around the
If they give me the
courthouse.
phone number and I'll have her.
I've got to double check through it and
Okay.
remember names and numbers again, but yeah,
Now, she called, but she can't get anybody to come out and do anything.
yeah.
It's not a big job.
Yeah, this guy does a lot of odds and ends and
Augie?
and we talked to him, seemed good.
But he mentioned, God, what did he mention? It made me think about the basement. Well, I do want to say that Ray Cordy, who is our
Yeah.
part-time janitor maintenance person, who's also a part-time deputy, he's doing an excellent job. And we being my office, I can't speak for everybody, but we're very pleased. If you've noticed, when you walked in, the basement was clean and the floor was painted. He's very conscientious about that. The windows are gone, they've been moved up into the attic. He's gonna wax the floor, I think, this weekend. So he takes a lot of care and a lot of interest in the grounds of the courthouse. And he's a very resourceful person. I think he can do a lot of different things, so.
Okay.
When talking about that, John, did you want to tell us about what you've done, or maybe send some feelers out about artwork and so forth?
Yeah, and they've had a couple people come in and look. The Blink Art Gallery has a permanent collection of various artworks, and they're going to try to display some in the basement of the courthouse. And since we moved the entrance down there, and I think as everybody knows, that's kind of the ugliest corner of the building, and just, you know, get a little artwork and do something to make it more appealing. And I haven't followed up. I know they came in and looked around and took some measurements and were thinking about it, so it's, hopefully that will be happening before too much longer.
I think everybody agrees that that's probably a good idea. It involves folks with us, and I don't know, I think it'd be appropriate for the basement and any other place we can think of.
Yeah, probably the basement for, you know, that's a great place to start.
Yeah,
If something happens on down the road, it's more great.
I agree.
Is HRC, are they coming around anymore to help?
Yes,
Clean?
They were
Yes.
in this morning.
They're here.
Yeah. On this morning.
Monday, Wednesday, Friday.
I know one time they was kind of held off, and I didn't know whether they started back or not.
Yeah, they've been on a pretty regular basis, they've
Okay.
been here.
All right.
They've been very cautious with the clients working in the public with COVID, which stands to reason.
Carl, did you have anything on? We do have,
Oh, Union,
we did talk to Rick, our attorney, and somebody thought somebody else was gonna do it who thought somebody, anyway, it's in the works,
okay.
okay? And there
That
is,
language,
right, and that'll be shipped out to us maybe today or tomorrow.
okay.
So we'll be able to move forward and then move forward with the other, okay? Lisa, do you have anything you wanna
No, I don't.
expound upon? John, do you have anything else?
Nothing else.
Okay, thanks to John the other day, we looked at the levy for the health department a little closer, and I spent some time discussing it with the treasurer's office, but more specifically with Janet, who is the health department administrator. And number one, she believes it's okay, and she checked that she can get us reimbursed for Social Security, IMRF, tort for both unemployment and for the public work comp. So those four things. Don's office and Pam are working on how we can do that. I did find out that all of that is predicated on an $800,000 grant, and I'm rounding that off that they got. The feds went ahead and this started in June, so we can go back to June if all this works out and start getting reimbursed for those funds that we've expended for that payroll. They were immediately shipped $200,000, so, and they'll get chunks of money as they need it, rather than they get the money and then they expend it. Once that's expended, then they get more money. So it should work things out. We clarified exactly what they're talking about as far as people and dollars and so forth. The feds, of course, wanted them to justify the $800,000 as much as they could. They probably aren't gonna be able to expend all of that, but they're gonna try. It's just, well, it's just,
Yes, sir, right.
Right. So, thank you, John. I don't often look at the health department that closely. Thank gosh you did, because I think we can crank this into the machine and get some reimbursement through that without hurting what the health department's doing, what they're doing, and connecting the dots with who's been exposed and who else has been exposed.
So doubling their administrative really might not happen.
No.
Okay.
What, but they are expending a lot of overtime. Now,
Right.
the federal grant is not, for example, paying for Janet or Monica.
Right.
Their salaries are still coming out of their budget.
Right.
But every overtime hour that they spend is coming out of that budget. There are two nurses,
Go ahead.
that a lot of their salary and overtime is coming out of the grant. And then their, what do they call them, the contact tracers?
Yeah, goodness.
Those, that's the big amount that you saw in the budget, like 300,000. They're gonna try to get 8 or 10 people working part-time on that tracing. And those are completely reimbursed. So that funds that we spent, you wouldn't think that that could amount to a lot, but the 0.0765 for Social Security adds up pretty fast when you're spending a couple $100,000.
Well, the other,
No, go ahead, John.
the other thing we have to remember on that number, and I think what made it look so big, is they put it in the 2021 budget, but it actually went back to March of 2020, and, you know, who knows how far into 2021 it's going to go, so it's
Right.
essentially 2 years rolled into one line item on the budget.
Yeah, it started in June 1 and it expires on May 31st. So all of the funds are, unless they do something else. But we'll have the mechanism set up soon. We want to make sure we do it according to Hoyle. If the feds come in, we don't want any issues later on down the line. Yes,
So
Carl?
you're saying because of this grant, that's why we can get reimbursement for all this?
Right.
But anybody else?
Yeah, for example, Janet's regular salary, we can't get reimbursed.
Right.
When, you know, we're paying it. I
Right.
mean, as far as the benefits and all those 4 things, but it's not legal for us to drag that back, okay, as an administrative fee or anything else, okay?
So they waive that up through this grant process?
Yeah, well, see, because they're paying 100%, then they owe us as well as,
Okay, all right.
okay?
Yeah.
But we're getting that in writing so we can move forward correctly and not have any problems. We'll adjust if we have to, but we're hopeful that, and pretty sure that that's the way it's gonna wind up.
And when I was quarantined, I get a call every day, but there was a 312 area code, and it said state of Illinois, but they asked the questions. Was that through our health department?
That's what Janet said,
Okay,
okay?
so it's been reimbursed by the state?
Mhm.
Okay.
Budget-wise, that's gonna affect what we did as far as insurance and tort in general, is gonna cause us to increase that by roughly $75,000. Okay, it's just, now, we'll get some reimbursements, but I'm hoping that will make up the difference in whatever we're gonna spend. So, that will put our levy at about 3.25% increase. But most of that is coming from retirement and tort, okay? We are reducing the general levy by, what'd I say, 2.25%? So, we're
Or 2.5.
somewhere in that area.
25,000.
We're trying to make an effort to show that we can live, you know, collect less property tax. And we'll continue to look at that for the next few years. And if we can save property tax, we will.
So, just to make sure I understood that right, you're saying you're going to go ahead and budget the money for workman's comp and social security for the additional health department employees and then hope we get, we should get reimbursed, but we're gonna budget it just
Well,
until
we're
the
not
money's
budgeting,
here.
we're not budgeting 100%,
Okay,
okay?
okay,
Because it's,
right,
I think it's gonna be okay.
yeah,
But the biggest problem we've got is that our health insurance, our liability insurance went from roughly, what did the, 220 to 310.
Thank
So
you.
that's a $90,000 increase. That's where our biggest problem is.
right,
Okay? And our work comp went from, and a lot of that sheriff's department, it went from 70,000 to 85,000. So, well, I got it right here. Yeah, 70,000 to 80, I'm sorry, 68,000 to 80,000. So it's close. So all of those put together means that we've got to, I'm pretty confident that we can do that and set up reimbursement line items in those, in the tort fund and some of the social security fund and get that back in, so we don't have to worry about that and hit up our taxpayers to begin with, right? Because we actually lowered social security a little bit, because that's gonna work out. The other thing you got yesterday, yesterday, was the wind farm. Sure asked that you review that. I know Wyatt from the Farm Bureau, you got a copy. We're putting it online so everybody can see it. Hopefully people will read it, understand what we've tried to do, and we'll be talking about it more in the next 2 study sessions, and it's queued up for passing the amendments on the 4th. Is it the 4th, Augie?
Yes.
The 4th of November. And then we'll be in line to move forward.
When we talked about a change on that, or something about John was missing,
From 4 to 5.
I think we had it right,
decommission or something?
We had it right.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was remembering numbers wrong,
Yeah.
apologize for that.
Well, no, I mean, we've been through so many numbers.
Yeah,
I
we
mean,
kind of
it's-
did 4, 5, and 6, and I couldn't remember where it was last.
No, it wasn't 10.
It wasn't 10?
At any rate, a lot of work has gone into this, a lot of research, and hopefully it will do a good job for us. And when we move into, actually, if it gets to the point where they have somebody apply, then we can make sure it works smoothly then too. Carl, did you have a question? Yes, Dan?
I think this morning the COLA came out for Social Security, 1.3%.
Yes, that is
Yeah,
correct.
if you're talking about raises and so forth, sometimes we've talked about COLA and then base our raise something for employees on that, so I think it's 1.3% is what came out.
I appreciate that. I did see that. I appreciate it, though. Thank you. So we're more than in line
Right,
with
right.
what we have proposed and have in our budget. Do you have any questions or comments? Yes, Carl.
One other thing on talking about the ambulance.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
You're working on,
Thank you.
the committee, I guess.
I have it right in here, and I almost was, I saw, well, first of all, I thought it would be helpful to have Derek on the committee, because he headed up the last time.
Right.
We had asked one other person up north, well, and Kevin Julian, who's the chairman of the board up there for the Fire Protection District. We may have to get one other person. I had, and I don't want to say his name because of HIPAA, but one of the guys who's a good friend of mine is very, very ill with COVID. And he was on the upswing, and this morning he took a turn, very bad turn. So he would have been excellent on the board, and I don't think he's going to be in any shape to do it if he pulls out of this thing. I thought we'd probably have 1 or 2 board members on it. So, Lisa, you are up from that area, which would make sense. I know that it would take some time, but I know you could work together with Derek well. And so I think we've got to find one more, have 4 or 5 people on.
That's why I was thinking 4 or 5 people.
Yeah, that's plenty,
Yeah,
don't you think?
I agree.
And I don't think we'll have much problem finding another person for the community up there. Maybe more to the west, I don't know, we'll see. I've got somebody in mind, but I haven't talked to them yet, so. But that's what I have in my mind, folks.
Sounds good.
I'm glad you brought that up. I was gonna bring that up on yesterday, and with everything, we've got kind of a heavy agenda lately, so. Anyway, are there any other comments about administration? Wyatt, did you have anything that you wanted to, I didn't mean to pass you over.
I set it up to Bloomington as soon as I got it yesterday. I'm sure Garrett and Laura will have some comments, some suggestions.
Okay.
But I'll just reiterate that we're working for the landowners. We wanna make sure that it's built up right and that we're, whether it's tomorrow or 10, 20 years from now, that they're still protected, so.
Actually, it's more important 10 or 20 years from now than
Yes.
it is necessarily right now, so.
As well as, not even just the landowners, but the roads, things like that.
And the folks that are participating.
Yeah.
That's a very key component to the whole thing.
Yeah.
We have, if you look around the area in the various counties in the immediate area, some of our setbacks are quite a bit larger than what you'll find typically in the area.
Yeah.
So we'll see how that works, but we appreciate the Farm Bureau's comments and their participation in helping us throughout this process. So thank you. And if you would pass that along, I'd appreciate it.
Yep, and as soon as I have something back from them, I'll relay it to you guys as soon as I have it.
Very good.
And just, an aside on how it affects everybody, the wind farm up by Newman, now that the leaves are starting to fall off the trees, I can see the lights from those towers from my house. And that's 35 miles in the county away.
You can see them north of Dana.
These are the big ones too. These
Yeah.
are
Biggest,
the 550 to 600 tip height.
biggest
tip
in
to
North
ground.
America.
Right.
Really?
Yep, they're big ones. So, anyway, other items, I do have a quick need for a personnel, just a quick thing. We need to go in exec session or closed session on personnel, okay? So, anybody else have any questions, comments? All right, a motion to go into exec for personnel. Carl, do I have a second? John, seconds. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Nay? Okay, it is carried. Thank you all for your participation. We appreciate you coming.
Okay, we're live.
Is there anything else to come before the meeting this morning? Hearing none, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn, please.
So moved.
John moves. Phil seconds.
What you looking at me
All
for?
those in favor signify by
Wait for
saying
somebody to
aye.
say.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. We are adjourned. Thank you,
I was wondering what I was
guys.
missing that y'all wanted to